Hey everyone, I wanted to share a story with you guys regarding the stimulus checks that the government has been sending out. I know some have been receiving them, like myself, I have already, and maybe some of you have not. But there is an interesting development here that you might or might have not heard of yet. So, yesterday I was going through my WeChat account, which is basically like a Chinese Facebook, and I see a colleague of mine who posted a picture of a stimulus check. And I had to do a quick double take on that because I was like, wait a minute, my colleague here is Chinese. Like, what is she posting? And I had to translate what she said. There's a feature on WeChat where you can translate Chinese to English. And basically, she was saying that she was surprised that she got a check from the US even after not living there for almost 2 years. So that obviously was a huge surprise to me. So I reached out to her and she agreed to share her story. And this is a conversation. So, Song, you received a check in the mail. How did you find out that you got a check?
I use my friend address as my address in US. So the yesterday my friend sent a picture of the check and said I got the stimulus payment from the IRS. And I know the government is sending out the money to people, but I never thought I would receive the money because I haven't no longer lived in US for almost 2 years. And both of us are very shocked because he didn't get the money because he has good income.
Wow. Okay, so you got a check, and how much is the check for, if you don't mind me asking?
It's $1,200.
1,200. Okay, which is what they said that they would give out, right, per person. That's
Yes.
yeah. That's crazy. When I found out when you posted it on WeChat, I also was shocked. I was like, whoa, like who? I was wondering who else is getting these checks because, I mean, if you got it and you haven't been in the U.S. for 2 years, I can't imagine how many more people. So, do you know anybody else personally that might have been in your situation that is also getting a check and doesn't live there anymore or doesn't work there?
Personally, I don't know anyone have the same situation like me, but I read some news. Many people who have studied in US for recent 2 years and have go back to their own country, many of them are receiving the check too. So I think it's not the single case. It's like many people have a similar situation like me, and they are out of the US.
And tell us a little bit again about your time in the U.S. So you were there 2 years ago, and tell us what were you doing there?
I went to US for universities, and I spent 4 years in college, and after that, and I work there for 1 year. So during this 1 year, I have um, filed the tax form to the IRS. So I think that's the reason they have my information and they can mail the check to me.
Wow. You yourself are
Yes.
not American, right? Just to be clear. Yeah.
No, I'm not in America.
Yeah. And you haven't been there for 2 years. That's nuts. So,
I don't even have a visa now.
what was that?
I don't even have a US visa now. I'm
Wow. What do you think about that? Like when you hear that, that there's some sort of mistake like this, what's your opinion? What's your reaction to that?
yes. To be honest, I think the stimulus payment is actually a very good policy because we all know that the coronavirus have a huge impact on the economy. So companies are closed, the employees get laid off, and many people is facing the financial difficulties right now. So it's really good that the IRS can send out those money to people who need it. But because of this mistake, I don't think um, many people who really need it get this money. Instead, they going to people who is outside of the country. And when I get the check, I am also worried because I don't know how to return it. I checked online and asked around. There is no such way to return it, and the IRS seems they haven't responded to this issue yet. So I don't know if I should keep it, spend it, or do something else. And also, I'm afraid if I keep it, it will have some bad influence for my application about the future visa.
Right.
Um,
If you ever want to travel or go steady or
yeah,
work again, yeah, you're afraid something will
yes,
happen. Yeah, hopefully the IRS will give instructions soon because we
yeah.
don't know how early or how long this has been going on and how many people are getting them. When did you find out that you got a check?
Yesterday.
Oh,
It's only
yesterday.
one day.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So as soon as your friend told you about the check, you immediately like realized that this was a mistake.
Uh-huh.
That's true. Okay, well, keep me posted, and if I find out about anything, I'll let you know for sure. Because yeah, you wouldn't. Of course, you don't want to get into trouble, like you said, and you don't want to spend, the money if it's going to cause any problems. But
Mhm.
but anyway, we'll figure it out. So, thank you so much. You have a good day. All right, I'll let you go.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.
So full disclosure here, Song is not my colleague's real name. That's her English name, and I purposely did that so I could try to protect her identity. She was afraid that some of her personal information would be out there with this story. So when I was talking to Song and I found out that she had received this check, I was chatting with her on WeChat, and she pointed out that there may be many, many more people in her situation. So she shared an article that she found, a Chinese article that quoted Politico.com, which I don't know if they were the ones who broke the story, but certainly they were one of the first ones. And this Politico article is titled IRS Mistakenly Sends Stimulus Checks to Foreign Workers. Basically what the story is about, they interview several people in the situation, college-age workers, people who were in the U.S. recently but maybe no longer, or may not have actually the documents to work in the U.S., and they were receiving stimulus checks, whether because they had actually a profile with the IRS, or maybe because they had tried to file taxes not knowing that they didn't have to as foreigners. And so the IRS, apparently according to Politico, used that information to disperse these stimulus checks. So anyway, they're estimating that thousands of people like Song receive these checks. Not just that, but the Washington Post also did an article that is titled "The IRS Sent $1,200 to a rich woman who doesn't need it," and she is also British and lives in London. So that's yet another case, another example of this happening. Forbes has a story that was also recently published titled "Her Deceased Boyfriend Received a Stimulus Check and She's Still Waiting for Hers." So obviously these news sources are saying that there are still hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of Americans who still haven't received their checks, and yet people who you wouldn't expect to be getting one are. And so I'm reaching out to the IRS as well. They haven't responded to Politico, and I will share whatever they say to me if they respond to me at all. So there you have it. If you want to read up more on the stories that I just mentioned, I will include a link to them on the description of this post. The stories to Washington Post, to Politico, and to the Forbes story. If you have any questions for me, always feel free to reach out and I'll try to answer as quick as I can and as best as I can. And for everybody who's returning to work, as a lot of the states have now started to reopen, I just wanted to tell everybody to be safe, take all the precautions, watch what you touch, make sure you wash your hands, cover your face, maintain a distance, because this virus is still out there. It's still infecting people. It's taking people to the hospital, and people are still dying from this. So be safe, everybody, and thank you for watching.